It's 3 in the morning. Your baby is crying. Thirsty. You stumble to the kitchen, turn the tap. Click, click, click. Nothing. The grid is down, the city is dark, and there are screams. Actual throat-shredding screams echoing up from the street below your apartment door. So what now, hero? Most urban preppers have a plan. They call it bugging in. That's not a plan. That's a slow-motion failure where you sit in your fortress, eating canned beans, watching your resources tick down to zero while the world outside sharpens its knives. But bugging out on day one, that's just as catastrophic. That's sprinting into a meat grinder while everyone else is doing the exact same panic-fueled sprint. You become another statistic before sunrise. Here's what nobody tells you. Bugging in isn't your final strategy. It's your incubation period. It's the 30-day window where you're not hiding forever, you're planning your escape. And there are critical resources, what I call vampire resources, that 90% of preppers completely ignore because they're too busy stockpiling rice they'll never cook. In this video, we're breaking down the 3-phase urban escape protocol for a small family to survive a total urban collapse. This is the scientific blueprint that shows you exactly when your cozy bug-in fortress becomes a trap and how to ghost your family out of that hellhole using tactics so boring and gray that you become invisible to everyone around you. Because in the new world, the loudest fall first, but the second to fall, the ones who waited too long to act. Let's get started.
Phase 1, the Incubation Fortress, or how to stockpile like you're planning a jailbreak. Here's the psychological shift you need to make right now. You are not stocking up to stay forever. You are stocking up to buy yourself a 30-day escape planning window. Every can of food, every gallon of water, every battery, it's all just currency to purchase time. Time to think, time to watch, time to prepare for the one moment when you slip out unnoticed while everyone else is still fighting over the last roll of toilet paper. Your entire Phase 1 prep is built around one goal. Create a low-profile 30-day buffer that lets you plan your exit while the chaos filters out the stupid and the desperate. You're building a fortress, yes, but this fortress has an expiration date, and you're marking that date in your mind from day one. The hidden water heist, invisible reserves you already own. Let's talk water. Every prepper guide tells you the same recycled garbage, 1 gallon per person per day. Fantastic. So for a family of 4, that's 120 gallons for a month. Do you have room for 120 gallons in your apartment? No, you don't. Unless you live in a warehouse, this is fantasy math that sets you up for failure. Here's what you actually need: hidden reserves and a resupply plan that doesn't get you noticed or targeted. First reserve, your water heater tank. Right now, go check it. The average residential water heater holds 40 to 50 gallons of clean, potable water. That's a week and a half of drinking water for your family, sitting in your basement or utility closet, and nobody thinks about it. When the grid goes down, that tank becomes your first strategic reserve. You drain it from the bottom valve, filter it through a basic cloth to catch sediment, and you've just bought yourself time without ever stepping outside. But let's be honest, 50 gallons runs out, and when it does, you need a resupply plan. This is where most people fail. They think they can just stroll outside with buckets at noon, fill up from a puddle, and waltz back inside. Congratulations, you just painted a target on your back that says, "I have water, and I'm completely unaware of my surroundings." Your resupply strategy is what I call the vampire protocol. You do not gather water during the day, ever. You gather water between 3 and 4 in the morning during the lowest visibility window with dark clothing and silent movement. Rooftop drains after rain, basement sump pump wells, window condensation collection if you're desperate. You're not a survivalist making grand gestures. You're a ghost. You don't exist. And ghosts don't make noise at noon. The science here is simple. Human visibility drops dramatically in the 3 to 4 a.m. window. Most people are in their deepest sleep cycle. Guards, if there are any, are at their lowest alertness. You exploit this biological reality. You move when the world is blind. The calorie con, why your rice stockpile is worthless. Now let's talk food, and let's immediately throw out half the advice you've ever heard. Most preppers stockpile rice and beans because it's cheap and lasts forever. Here's the problem. Cooking rice produces smell. Smell travels. Smell attracts desperate people who haven't eaten in 4 days and have stopped thinking rationally. You might as well hang a sign outside that says, "Free buffet, come find us." Your food strategy needs to follow 3 rules: high calorie density, 0 cooking smell, and psychological value. Calorie density. You need high fat, high energy foods that require 0 cooking. Peanut butter, protein bars, jerky, trail mix. These are your staples. A single jar of peanut butter contains 3,000 calories. A single protein bar contains 200 to 300. You're not meal planning, you're fuel planning. You're treating your body like an engine that needs the most efficient fuel possible. Zero cooking smell. If you absolutely must cook, you cook at night, you cook small portions, and you use a method that minimizes smoke and odor. A tiny alcohol stove and a ventilated bathroom with the door closed and a damp towel under the door. But your primary food strategy should be no cook, because the moment you fire up that camp stove and start boiling pasta, you're advertising your location to everyone within a 100-yard radius. Psychological value. This is the part everyone forgets. You need morale foods. Hard candies to keep kids quiet and give them a dopamine hit when they're scared. Instant coffee packets to keep adults functional. Chocolate. These aren't luxuries. These are tools. A crying child in a silent apartment complex is a signal flare. A piece of candy is a tactical silence button. You're managing psychology as much as you're managing nutrition. And here's your insurance policy, a barter cash, small valuable items that others will be desperate for once their own plans fall apart. Miniature bottles of alcohol, cigarettes, basic over-the-counter medications, lighters. When your neighbor is starving and willing to trade information about which apartments are empty, which routes are being watched, which areas have organized groups, you'll want something to trade that isn't your own food. Information is currency, and your barter cash buys you information.
The 30-day fortress, your metric survival loadout. Let's get specific. We're prepping for a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids. 30 days, low profile, high efficiency. This isn't about living comfortably, this is about buying time intelligently. Water, 3-layer system. Layer 1, 30 gallons of bottled water. That's 120 liters. This is your drinking reserve, stored in the back of closets, under beds, anywhere out of sight. You're not advertising your prep to guests or neighbors before the collapse. The average person doesn't think about water until the tap stops working. You thought about it 6 months ago. Layer 2, your water heater tank, 40 to 50 gallons, your strategic reserve. You don't touch this until layer 1 is gone or compromised. Layer 3, resupply capability, a high-capacity water filter. Berkey, Sawyer Squeeze, Life Straw, doesn't matter as long as it's proven and you've actually tested it before the crisis. Plus, 5-gallon collapsible water jugs for your vampire protocol runs. You need to know how to use this equipment in the dark, in the rain, under stress. Test it now, not later. Food, 2 categories. No cook, 50% of your stockpile. Peanut butter, 100 to 120 protein bars, jerky, trail mix, canned goods that can be eaten cold, tuna, chicken, fruit, anything that doesn't require fire or produce smell. This is your primary food source for the entire 30 days. Low cook, 50%. Oatmeal, rice, pasta. This is for when you can afford to cook at night with minimal odor, but it's your backup, not your primary. You're planning for the worst-case scenario where any cooking is too risky. Hygiene and health, because in the collapse, infection equals failure. Hygiene basics, baby wipes, hand sanitizer, trash bags for waste, a 5-gallon bucket with a snap-on toilet seat. You think the sewage system will keep working when the power goes down? Think again. When municipal water pressure drops, sewage backs up. You need a plan for human waste that doesn't involve your apartment becoming a biohazard. Medical, a full IFAC, that's an individual first aid kit, tourniquets, at least 2, chest seals, hemostatic gauze, a 30-day supply of any prescription meds your family needs, and if you can legally and ethically acquire them, broad-spectrum antibiotics from a licensed physician, because a simple infected cut becomes a crisis when there's no ER. You need to treat basic infections before they become systemic. Pain management, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, antihistamines for allergic reactions, basic dental emergency kit for if someone cracks a tooth. These small medical problems become major crises when there's no access to professionals. Power and security. Security, a door security bar, reinforced locks, extra batteries, red light headlamps that don't destroy your night vision or advertise your position through windows, motion sensor alarms that run on batteries. You're creating layers of early warning. Power, several 20,000 milliamp hour power banks, fully charged, a small solar charging panel for when those run out.
You're not powering a fridge, you're keeping communication devices alive. A working phone means you can monitor news, communicate with other family members, or call for help if rescue operations begin. You now have 30 days of low-profile survival stockpiled. But here's the question that should be keeping you awake at night. How long can these resources actually keep you safe? 30 days, maybe, that's it. Because the real question isn't what you'll do when your stockpile runs out. The real question is what you'll do when the screaming stops. In Phase 2, we'll discuss the exact signals that tell you when your home has transformed from a fortress into a tomb, and how you'll use those 30 days to prepare the one critical bag that might save your family's life. Because the difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't strength, it's timing.
Phase 2, the trigger point, or how to know when the silence means it's time to run. You've got your 30-day stockpile, you're rationing, you're keeping quiet, you're listening to the chaos outside slowly evolve. Your mission during this phase isn't just survival, it's intelligence gathering. You're actively analyzing the breakdown, waiting for the specific signals that tell you when to stay and when to ghost, and you're using this time to perfect your escape gear. Because here's the truth. The moment you decide to leave is the single most important decision you'll make. Leave too early and you're just another panic refugee getting targeted in the street. Leave too late and you're trapped in a building with no food, no water, and organized groups of very motivated people going door to door. So let's talk signals. Real signals. Not panic, not guesswork, actual measurable indicators. Green light, the chaos permission slip. Signal. You hear constant chaotic screaming, loud bangs, alarms, breaking glass, the sounds of society eating itself in real time, fires burning uncontrolled, people running in random directions. Your response? Stay. Do not move. This is what I call the Darwinian filtering period. The loudest, the most panicked, the least prepared, they're all outside right now, making every mistake possible. They're fighting over the last gallon of milk at a looted grocery store. They're getting injured because traffic lights don't work. They're announcing their positions and getting targeted by anyone with half a brain and bad intentions. This chaos is your friend. Every person who falls outside is one less competitor for resources when you finally move. Cold? Yes. True? Also yes. You didn't create the collapse. You're just refusing to participate in the opening day massacre. You're waiting for the amateur hour to end so you can move during the professional hour. Red light, the silence that screams danger. Now here's where it gets interesting and terrifying. Critical trigger 1, the organized silence. The screaming stops, the random loud bangs stop. It's been quiet for 2, maybe 3 days. You think, great, things are calming down. Wrong, catastrophically wrong. What you're hearing is the sound of the amateur hour ending and the professional hour beginning. That silence means organized groups have formed, gangs, militias, desperate neighborhood coalitions. They've finished the easy looting, now they're conducting systematic door-to-door resource extraction. They're no longer screaming, they're coordinating. And that methodical knock on your neighbor's door, that's the sound of the hunt beginning. When the chaos turns to silence, it means the predators have learned to work together, and organized predators are exponentially more dangerous than chaotic mobs. You can measure this. Listen for patterns. Are the loud bangs now happening at regular intervals? Are there whistles or signal calls? Do you hear vehicles moving in coordinated convoys? These are signs of organization. And organization means you need to move before they reach your block. Critical trigger 2, water failure. Your strategic reserve is dry, your water heater tank is empty, and it's no longer safe to run the vampire protocol because there are organized patrols, lookouts, or the ambient violence has reached a point where even moving at 3 a.m. is too risky. Water is your timer. When you can't reliably resupply water, your 30-day fortress has just become a 10-day coffin. This is your hard deadline. No water means you leave, period. You can survive 3 days without water. After that, your decision-making deteriorates, your physical capability deteriorates. You become a liability to your family. Critical trigger 3, the window of opportunity. This is your ideal scenario. A severe storm rolls in, a blizzard, dense fog, heavy rain, anything that dramatically reduces visibility and keeps most people indoors. This is your cover. This is nature giving you camouflage. If you've been planning for 2 weeks, your stocks are still decent, and a major weather event hits, this might be your golden ticket to move while everyone else is hunkered down and blind.
Reduced visibility means reduced risk. You exploit every advantage nature gives you.
Escape planning, what you're actually doing during incubation. You're not just sitting there eating protein bars and hoping for the best. You have specific tasks, missions, intelligence gathering operations. Route planning. You need to study urban geography. Where are the railroad tracks, drainage canals, parks, alleys that don't have streetlights? You're looking for routes that avoid main roads, avoid choke points, and avoid areas where desperate crowds will naturally congregate. Schools, grocery stores, hospitals, anywhere people think safety or supplies. You're studying maps, real maps, not just GPS on your phone, paper maps that don't require batteries. You're marking primary routes, secondary routes, and emergency fallback routes. You're identifying waypoints, places you can rest, places you can hide, places you can resupply water. Active reconnaissance. This is critical. The most capable parent, the one with the best night vision, the best nerves, the best situational awareness, must personally scout these routes. At night, during your 30-day incubation. You're not taking the whole family. You're not bringing the kids. One parent, dark clothing, a small flashlight with a red filter, and a knife for emergencies. You're noting obstacles, abandoned vehicles, collapsed buildings, where the fires are, where the bodies are, where the organized groups seem to be setting up checkpoints or camps. You're building a mental map, because when you finally move your family, you will not have time to figure it out on the fly. Every second of hesitation is a second you're exposed. You need to know exactly where you're going and exactly how you're getting there. The Go Bag Protocol, turning your fortress into a mobile escape system. This is when you take your Phase 1 stockpile and compress it into a mobile escape system. You're building bags designed for one purpose, a 72-hour movement window to get your family from your apartment to a pre-staged vehicle or a safe staging area outside the city core. The weight rule. Most important rule. Your bag cannot exceed 20% of your body weight. Any heavier, you slow down, you tire out, you injure yourself. And slow equals failure. So if you weigh 150 pounds, your bag maxes out at 30 pounds. If you weigh 200 pounds, your bag maxes out at 40. Weigh your bag. Adjust. Test it by walking up and down stairs for 30 minutes. If you're gasping, you're too heavy. Cut weight. Prioritize ruthlessly. Load distribution. Everyone who can carry, carries. Adult 1, the leader. Primary navigation tools, the water filter, shelter components like a tarp, the IFAC, fire starter redundancy. You're the problem solver. You're carrying the tools that solve unexpected problems. Adult 2, the support. The majority of the 72-hour food supply, backup water, kids' spare clothing, first aid backup supplies. You're the logistics anchor. You're carrying the supplies that keep everyone functional. Children, if able. Even a 6-year-old can carry a small backpack. Spare socks, a water bottle, one morale item, a small toy, a book, a few energy bars. You're teaching them that everyone contributes, and psychologically, giving them a role reduces panic. They feel useful instead of helpless. Bag contents. 72 hours, minimal weight, maximum efficiency. Water. 1 full liter Nalgene bottle per person and your Sawyer squeeze filter. Do not carry excessive water. Filter water as you find it. Carrying water is for amateurs who don't understand that water is everywhere if you can purify it. Lakes, rivers, puddles, toilet tanks in abandoned buildings. Your filter is your lifeline. Food. No cook only. 9 high-calorie bars per person. That's 3 per day. Jerky. Nut packs. Anything calorie-dense and silent to eat. You're not having a picnic. You're fueling movement. You're maintaining blood sugar so you can think clearly and move quickly. Shelter. 1 emergency bivvy per person. 1 lightweight tarp for the family. You're not building a campsite. You're creating a low-profile sleep system for a few hours of rest during movement. You'll be rotating sleep shifts. 1 person always awake, always watching. Fire. 2 Bic lighters, 1 ferro rod. Redundancy. Always redundancy. Fire means you can purify water through boiling if your filter fails. Fire means you can stay warm if the weather turns. Fire means you have options. Health. Your IFAC. Personal prescription meds, ibuprofen, acetaminophen. Antihistamines for allergy reactions, basic wound care supplies. You cannot afford an infection. You cannot afford a fever. You treat injuries immediately and aggressively. Navigation, a laminated local map, a compass. Do not rely on your phone. Your phone will run out of battery. Your phone will break. Your phone's GPS will fail when cell towers lose power. Paper and a compass are eternal. Learn to use them before you need them. Tools, one quality fixed blade knife, a multi-tool, a red light headlamp with extra batteries, duct tape, paracord. These are force multipliers. A knife can cut, pry, defend. A multi-tool can repair gear, open containers, cut wire. Duct tape can fix almost anything temporarily. Miscellaneous, cash, small bills, waterproof bag with photocopies of IDs, important documents, and family photos. You're preserving identity for when civilization returns. You're maintaining the psychological anchor that you're still human, still a family, still planning for a future. Your bags are packed, your routes are scouted. You've identified your triggers. But here's the question you're probably asking. Once you leave, where are you actually going? And how do you get there without getting targeted, robbed, or stuck on foot for 200 miles? That's phase 3, the vector protocol. And it's where most escape plans completely fall apart because they don't understand the concept of staged movement. They think it's one mad dash from point A to point B. It's not. It's a calculated, multi-stage operation where each stage has different objectives, different tactics, and different success criteria.
Phase 3, the vector protocol, or how to ghost a family out of a war zone in 3 stages. The escape isn't a single movement, it's a multi-stage vector change. You're not sprinting from your apartment to some mythical bug-out location in the woods. You're executing a calculated, phased withdrawal that matches your capability to the terrain and the threat level. You're thinking like a military operation, not a panicked refugee. Let's break it down into 3 distinct stages, each with its own objectives and tactics. Stage A, the foot phase, 0 to 5 miles. Objective, get out of the city's red zone, the core, the high-density no-go area where everyone is still fighting over scraps, where desperation is at its peak, where violence is random and unpredictable. Method, this stage is done on foot. You're using your go bags and, if you prep them, bicycles. Bicycles are God's gift to urban escape. They're silent, they're faster than walking, they can navigate around obstacles like abandoned vehicles and debris, they don't require fuel. A basic hybrid bike with puncture-resistant tires is worth its weight in gold. If you have young children, a bike trailer or cargo bike becomes invaluable. You're moving at night. You're using your pre-scouted routes, you're avoiding main roads, you're avoiding any place with light or sound. You're a family of ghosts. You move in single file, you communicate with hand signals, not voices. You've practiced this during your Phase 2 reconnaissance. Your children understand that silence is safety. Target, a predetermined staging area just outside the city core. An industrial park, a suburban neighborhood on the edge, a wooded area near a highway on-ramp. Anywhere that's far enough from the chaos to breathe, but close enough that you didn't have to walk 20 miles with kids. This stage might take 1 night. It might take 3. You move when it's safe, you hide when it's not. You do not rush. Rushing gets you noticed. Getting noticed creates risk. You're willing to spend an extra day hiding in an abandoned building to avoid moving through a dangerous area in daylight. Stage B, the vehicle acquisition phase, 5 to 50 miles. Here's where your Phase 2 reconnaissance pays off. You're not walking 50 miles. You're not carrying a toddler on your back for 3 days. You're acquiring a vehicle, but not through illegal means, through smart scavenging, the gray vehicle strategy. Your target is not some apocalypse-ready 4x4 truck with a lift kit and monster tires. Your target is the most boring, common vehicle on the road. A Toyota Camry, a Honda CR-V, a minivan, a sedan. Why? 2 critical reasons. 1. Parts are everywhere. When something breaks, and things will break, you can scavenge parts from 50 other identical vehicles abandoned on the highway. Tires, batteries, belts. You're not looking for the perfect vehicle, you're looking for the vehicle with the most redundancy. 2. You don't draw attention. A lifted truck with aggressive tires screams, "I have supplies." A boring sedan whispers, "I'm nobody special." In the collapse, boring equals survival. You want to be forgettable. You want people's eyes to slide right past you. Acquisition strategy. During your Phase 2 recon missions, you noted locations of abandoned gray vehicles, cars left on the side of roads, vehicles in parking lots with flat tires or empty fuel tanks.
Here's the reality. When people panicked and fled on foot, many left their keys in the ignition, or in the sun visor, or under the floor mat. You're not breaking into vehicles. You're checking abandoned vehicles for keys that were left behind. You walk to that vehicle during your Stage A movement, you check it thoroughly, you look for keys, you assess its condition. If it has keys and looks operational, you note its location. When you're ready for Stage B, you return with your family, load your gear, and attempt to start it. If it doesn't start, you move to your backup vehicle. You identified 3 to 5 potential vehicles during recon. Redundancy, always redundancy. Fuel strategy. Your go bag has a manual siphon pump, not an electric one. Manual, because electric requires batteries and batteries fail. You will siphon fuel from abandoned, inoperable vehicles into your gray vehicle. Every highway has hundreds of vehicles, and many still have fuel in the tank. The owners fled before emptying them. You siphon at night, you siphon quickly, you carry 5-gallon gas cans if you can find them, you fill your vehicle's tank, and your reserve cans. Then you move on. You're not staying in one location longer than necessary. Vehicle maintenance. Before you start driving significant distances, you check basics, tire pressure, oil level, coolant, brake fluid. You're not a mechanic, but you know enough to assess whether this vehicle will get you 50 miles. If it won't, you move to your next candidate vehicle.
Stage C, the long-term vector, 50 miles and beyond. Here's the real strategy that nobody talks about: demographic scarcity. Your ultimate goal is not some secret bug-out location in the mountains with a cabin stocked with supplies. Unless you built that cabin 5 years ago, it doesn't exist. And if it does exist, someone else is already there, someone who got there before you and who will defend it. Your real target is the area on the map with the lowest population density and access to a natural water source. Rivers, lakes, streams. Water is life, and distance from other people is safety. You're looking at maps. You're finding rural areas with populations under 500 people per square mile. You're targeting regions that were already economically depressed before the collapse, because those regions have fewer people and more abandoned infrastructure you can potentially use. Old farmhouses, barns, outbuildings. You're not trying to join a community. You're not knocking on farmhouse doors asking for help. Those people have their own families to protect, and they don't know you. You're finding a forgotten corner of the map, a place nobody is thinking about, and making it yours for as long as the chaos lasts. Your ultimate resource isn't food. It's not water. It's not weapons. It's distance. Distance from desperation. Distance from violence. Distance from the demographic crush of 1 million people who didn't prepare and are now willing to do anything to survive. You put miles between you and them, and you do it quietly, methodically, using these 3 stages. You don't announce your destination. You don't tell people where you're going. You simply disappear into the landscape like you were never there. The long-term survival reality. Once you've reached your low-density area, you shift from escape mode to survival mode. You find shelter, you secure a water source, you begin foraging, fishing, trapping. You use the skills you hopefully learned before the collapse. This is where your survival knowledge becomes practical application. You establish routines, you maintain hygiene, you create normalcy for your children. You begin planning for the long term because this might not be temporary. This might be months, it might be years. You're psychologically preparing yourself for a fundamental lifestyle change. Conclusion: the silence protocol. A family's fighting chance in an urban collapse isn't found in the barrel of a weapon or on a pantry shelf. It's found in this 3-phase protocol that combines preparation, timing, and human psychology. You're not stronger than the collapse. You're smarter than it. You're quieter than it. You're more patient than everyone else who's panicking. This isn't a bug-in plan. This is a get-out-smart plan. You use your 30-day fortress to buy time. You watch for the triggers that tell you when staying becomes a fail-air. And you execute a staged escape using gear you tested, routes you scouted, and a gray vehicle you identified through careful reconnaissance. Because here's the final truth. In a collapse, the loudest are always the first to fall. They announce themselves. They fight, they attract attention, they become statistics in someone else's survival story. But the most dangerous signal in the entire collapse isn't the screaming, it's not the loud bangs, it's not the chaos. It's the silence. The organized silence, the methodical silence, the silence of groups who figured out that cooperation beats competition. and that quiet hunting beats loud fighting. That silence tells you the amateur hour is over, and the professionals are now working. When you hear that silence, you leave, and you leave like a ghost, because the only people who survive the collapse are the ones nobody ever saw coming or leaving. Now pack your bags, scout your routes, test your gear, and remember, you're not preparing to stay forever, you're preparing to disappear at exactly the right moment. And the clock is already ticking. The grid might not fail tomorrow, it might not fail next year, but when it does, you'll have 30 days to execute this protocol. 30 days to watch, to wait, to plan, and then you move. The choice is yours. Prepare now or regret later. Because in the collapse, there are no second chances. There's only the prepared and the lost. Stay smart, stay quiet, stay invisible, and survive.